Hi guys, and welcome back to the podcast. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been together, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's obviously been a Christmas break, so hope you've all had a lovely one, feeling refreshed, feeling rejuvenated, ready to tackle 2022. Just like we are, we've got a few plans with the podcast, haven't we? Going to continue our structure, building on previous knowledge. We hope you've got value so far. If you have, please like and subscribe, tell a friend. That'll be really beneficial for us. We really want to grow the podcast both on YouTube and on Spotify in 2022, and we also want to get onto iTunes at some point. It's been a bit of an arse.
It's been a nightmare.
Been a bit difficult, but we'll be on there soon, and if you're listening to us on there, then we've obviously got it up there somehow. So just to continue really with this series, we've been doing sort of before, during, and now today we're going to do after exercise routines, I think. So I think last week I was at home by myself down in Somerset, enjoying family and friend time. So I did the podcast by myself. Max is recovering from COVID. He's a lot better now. Looked a sorry state.
I'm still recovering.
You're still recovering. But you guys are, you're the priority. That's why we sit here. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's crack on. Max, tell me, what sort of things can I be doing after an exercise? Whether it's a gym session, whether it's a match, training, what can I do to improve my performance in the long run?
So, after any kind of training session, whether that's, in your sport or whether it's in the gym or whether it's a fitness session, you've gone out for a run, anything like that, essentially you're breaking the muscle down, you're getting little micro tears in your muscle fibres, and it's damaging. So, you train, you break down the muscle fibres, and then essentially the recovery period is you trying to mend those muscle fibres through nutrition, through recovery methods, which I'm going to touch on now, to try and be a little bit stronger, a little bit bigger, a little bit faster than you were before.
So why are the muscles broken down when we exercise?
So under tension, it's essentially you're putting your muscles under stress, and under stress things break and get damaged, and in the miraculous body it manages to fix itself. So you can do that by lots of different methods. So you've got active and passive recovery. Passive recovery is just chilling out, sitting down on the sofa, sleeping.
Yep. Good at that.
Good at that. I'm really good at that at the minute. And basically just not really doing anything and just giving you the body time to recover. That's passive recovery. Active recovery is essentially doing little bits to help the process along. So that's like low intensity exercise, like steady state stuff, simply like going on a little walk or a very low intensity run. Just helps increase the heart rate, pump the blood around the body, help flush out any dead red blood cells that gets trapped in those muscle fibres.
Right.
Just to help aid the healing process. Active recovery is also things like you can do stretches, you can do foam rolling, you can have compression leggings or compression garments, stuff that you use at football and rugby players at a high level will use, like intermittent pneumatic compression.
What's that?
Essentially, you probably would have seen it. I think they're called like recover. I don't know what they're called.
Is that where they like inflate a big balloon around their legs?
Yeah, so the leg garments are like, it's just basically a massive boot that goes right up to your groin, down over the top of your foot.
Yeah.
And it inflates and squeezes, and it's kind of almost like a massage. But obviously it's intermittent, so it'll squeeze, and it basically just helps flush the dead blood out of your muscles. Right. So what happens is when your muscle gets damaged, you can get sort of like a backlog of blood flow to that area to help recovery, but it can get trapped because there is damage there, so it doesn't do its full cycle and go back up to the heart and then the lungs.
So does it go via the lymphatic system? Is that the way?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And but yeah, it gets trapped there, and all the compression does is just help sort of
like squeeze it
out.
Got you.
So the first time you use those garments is it's quite like weird because it's a
Yeah.
really like tight squeezing sensation, but it's intermittent. You just
Sounds
sit there basically. Yeah, it's relaxing. Like you just sit there for about half an hour and it just does its job, and it's.
So is that sort of on par with, let's say, a recovery massage?
Yeah,
It's just not involving someone else.
Yeah, it's interestingly. So I did my dissertation at uni on intermittent pneumatic compression, which is that compression legging, versus foam rolling as a recovery method. So foam rolling, it's essentially myofascial release, which is where you'd roll over the muscle. I think we touched on it maybe a couple of episodes ago, but it's basically a form of self-massage where you will roll over the muscle, again, just to help squeeze squeezing the end of a toothpaste tube.
To have pressure applying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with
to squeeze the dead red blood cells out of that muscle.
Yeah.
It can also do things like help lengthen and stretch out your muscle fibres, because often what happens if you've done something particularly intense, your muscle fibres can shorten under stress and under load. They'll shorten. That's why you feel really tight and stiff after a gym session sometimes.
I absolutely know that feeling. I've still got sore legs from like 3 days ago.
I've got some from Tuesday. I'm a bit worried about tomorrow's game, to be fair. But that's essentially what it is. So it's rolling out and stretching out those muscle fibres.
Yeah.
And you can do that sort of different levels. You can kind of lightly go over it, which is good for sort of pre-game stuff, just to help promote a little bit of blood flow.
Then you've got deep tissue massage.
Deep tissue, yeah, which is where essentially it hurts. You're hurting yourself. It is. You got to find the uncomfortable bits, because those tight, uncomfortable areas is just a muscle fibre that's stuck in cramp.
Right.
And you're trying to release that cramp, essentially. Excuse me. And then it's just aiding your muscles to recover a little bit faster. You can do things.
So what about stretching then? How does that differ in terms of recovery from compression?
Yeah, good. So stretching it's almost the same as self-myofascial release, so foam rolling and things like that. You're just stretching the muscle fibre out, like I said. You'll get the muscle fibre will contract and cramp up post exercise, and then you're just trying to stretch it to help it go back to its original length to become functional again.
Right.
It'll
so anything that's
naturally.
tightened up naturally during exercise, that's what you're trying to lengthen. And stretch out.
It's like it will sort of go back to its original form naturally, but the stretching post exercise does help it along the way. But obviously, if you're doing multiple gym sessions throughout the week and you're not having that stretch in there, that's when you can generally become tight in the hips,
right?
Because you're not stretching it enough. But doing it post exercise is handy just to help recovery and also help your mobility and things like that.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or do I need to rephrase it?
No. I'm just trying to put it in a summary, to be honest. So like, whether you're doing active, well, the active recovery is more flushing things out your tissue, getting all the debris by the sounds of it, and all the toxins out of your muscle cells through your lymphatic system to be, excreted. And then what the passive recovery is just letting your body do its natural.
Yeah, which obviously takes a longer period of time. So there's loads of studies that back and support stretching and low intensity exercise and self myofascial release and things like that have that quicker recovery effect than just passive recovery of just relaxing.
Right. So how long? Obviously, if you're stretching after a or a training session, how long should that
how long would that take?
Be? Yeah.
It depends on the intensity of the exercise. It depends
on. Yeah.
There are so many variables. Also, how much sleep you're getting, because sleep is essentially your body's way of passive recovery. But it's your body's way of not moving and just letting your body naturally,
heal itself.
It's massively important. Sleep is the best recovery method out of all of them. But obviously these other little bits just help it along the way. So timings wise, there are probably loads of studies out there. I don't know off the top of my head exactly how much longer it takes to recover through passive means. However, there are studies out there that say that, but it does depend on how intense that exercise is, what type of exercise it was, whether it's more of a running session.
It's dependent on that stress you've just put it through.
Exactly, yeah. And essentially, when to go for a gym session or a running session or whatever, is you're changing the environment, and your body is going to try and adapt to meet that environment's demands. So depending on the exercise, it kind of depends on how long you're going to recover.
Right.
It affects how long you're going to recover.
So just to give us a scenario, which a lot of our listeners will probably be familiar with, if they're regularly going to the gym, let's say 4 to 5 times a week, and they have a game or a test of something, whether it's a match, a game, a competition on the weekend, should they be training Friday? Let's say we play rugby on a Saturday. Someone might have a tennis match on a Saturday. Should they be gymming on a Friday? Should they be gymming on a Thursday? How long?
If you're a sort of intermediate to advanced rugby player, football player, then training before on the Friday before is fine, but you've got to be smart about it. You can't be doing a massive hypertrophy session with loads of volume pre-game. But what I will do, and what I give my rugby players and my football players and myself as well, is I'll do a recovery session. So I'll get them doing a bit of light foam rolling, a little bit of stretching and mobility, and then I'll give them like a game prep session, which is usually speed of bar. So Olympic lifting. So that can be things like some dynamic movements, so jumping and explosive movements. So you're doing low reps, a sort of medium to low weight, but you're just trying to move it quickly. Right. The reason being is you're not putting the muscles under that much stress,
so they're not getting damaged.
So they're not getting damaged as much, but you are still kind of getting the training effect from it. Right. But like I said, they're not getting as damaged, so you've got plenty of time to, just over 24 hours to recover.
So if someone's doing, for example, 2 upper body sessions a week, 2 lower body sessions, it's fine to do a lower body session on a Friday before the game, but make that a lighter day where you're doing more explosive work.
I would try and maybe, again, recommend doing more of a total body approach, because if you focus more on lower body or upper body, again, you're just having more volume in that area. Whereas if you do more of a total body thing that is like Olympic lifting and jumping,
you're spreading that load.
Yeah, you're spreading the load out, and again, it's low volume, but it's just speed work essentially. Does that make sense?
No, that's all interesting stuff. Yeah.
To summarise, because I know that there's so many different dimensions to recovery in terms of actively what you can do that's not nutrition. A summary: the main massive key point is sleep. That's the best recovery method.
Minimum hours. What would you aim for? Minimum hours a day?
Does depend person to person, but it's the classic 8 hours of sleep at night is ideal. But it's more consistency over anything. Consistency is massively important. Sleep's the big one. Active recovery, so going on a walk or like a very gentle jog.
Is this immediately after training, or is this the following day?
This is, following day. So if I think you've got a rugby game tomorrow, so maybe on the Sunday you'd go for a little, or your light swim's even better, because swimming, it's not got any impact. Right. It's just a form of movement without that impact, which again can cause a little bit of muscular stress, like that damage. So low intensity active recovery. You can do your stretching, your foam rolling the day after. Right. 12 to 24 hours after is quite good, and then and
then would you be doing some active recovery after training sessions each day?
If you're on it, then yeah.
You're on it, so if you really want to perform at your peak, then you should be doing active recovery as well as making sure you're doing that passive recovery, which is your 8 hours of sleep and getting some rest where you are sat down.
Foam rolling, I think the more frequent the better. So if you're using foam rolling as your intervention, doing that 3-4 times a week for 15 minutes each time, working on all your main muscles, so your quads, your hamstrings, your calves and your glutes, just doing that frequently throughout the week,
that consistency,
it'll make you feel a world better. So
I definitely notice the difference when I'm on it with my, I do go WOD, get my stretches in, and when I have definitely slept better, my performance the following day, or even just the ability to get into range of motion positions. My squat, for example, if I have a decent night's sleep, I'm doing some active recovery and I'm not sat down all day.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Way better. That you done? That
the basics.
Lovely.
I could go more into it, but
yeah.
I'll save that for another one.
So in terms of nutrition, on what you can do for recovery after exercise, obviously everything we talk about is primarily the macronutrients. Obviously micronutrients are really important. You need to be making sure you're getting your micronutrients for reducing inflammation, all those antioxidants, for example, which are found in your fruit and veg, really important for reducing that inflammatory process. Making sure you're getting lots of omega-3 fatty acids, so that's like fish oils, you get them in nuts as well. They're all anti-inflammatory oils. If you have other types of oils, like I'm talking sunflower, rapeseed, rapeseed is quite good in omega-3, but other oils, especially if they're like being fried, you've got a lot of omega-6 fatty acids. You've probably heard of omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, and if you get a big imbalance of one versus the other, so lots of omega-6 and very little omega-3, that's actually really pro-inflammatory. So obviously that won't help you with your recovery processes. So lots of fish, oily fish, nuts. You can take supplements if you want to, and then you're swaying that balance of omega-3 versus omega-6. So that's something in terms of reducing the inflammation. Obviously, inflammation after exercise is a good thing.
It's a natural response.
It's a natural response.
Recovery, yeah.
Exactly. You need that inflammation to then have what you said in terms of the muscle recovering itself. Inflammation causes lots of fluid to basically accumulate around what is damaged, and that's where all the good stuff, all the the amino acids, all the pro-inflammatory cytokines all gravitate towards to help that healing process. But going back to the food side of it, after exercise, it's really important. And again, this varies on how much stress you put your body under, how hard have you worked, how long have you worked for, what exercise have you been doing in terms of the intensity, because you will be depleting glycogen stores. And if you want to perform and you want to train at your best, then you need to make sure those glycogen stores are as high as they can be. So we've spoken about making sure, if you are exercising for longer than 90 minutes or 60 minutes, you're going to need to fuel yourself during that period. But after exercise, for example, a game on a Saturday where we're playing rugby for 80 minutes, after that you want to make sure you're fueling yourself with lots of carbohydrates to replenish those glycogen stores that you've lost. That way, when you come into training or even doing your active recovery on Sunday or you're training on the Monday, you've got that maximum glycogen stores. After exercise, I think within the first 6 hours, so it's the first 4 hours after exercise, your ability to make glycogen from excess sugar in your blood is way higher. I'm not exactly sure, the stat, but it's well over double the ability to replenish your glycogen stores. So that immediate period after you finishing exercise is one of the most important, the 0 to 2 hours. Because that period is quite short, you want to make sure you're getting some fast digesting carbohydrates in at that point. So when we're talking about fast digesting carbohydrates, basically just choosing things that are low in fibre, fruit, for example, bananas, they contain fructose, they're quickly digested, quickly absorbed. You can have melon. There's all the fruits, obviously I'm not going to list them all, but in terms of other types of food, we're talking rice. Rice it is technically a starchy carbohydrate, but it is rapidly broken down. White bread, for example, as well. You've got pasta and potatoes. Those will all quickly break down into sugar, be absorbed into your blood to help you replenish those glycogen stores. After about 4 hours, that ability to store glycogen is, it goes down from that initial period, but it stays elevated for about 24 hours. So I'm going to go back to a marathon now. If you have done a marathon and for some insane reason you're running one in 2 days' time, that 6 hours is the most important to make sure you're getting all those glycogen stores on, but you do still have 24 hours where your body is really trying to replenish its glycogen stores. So yeah, get your carbohydrates on, make sure they're quickly digestible carbohydrates. We'll talk about them in the future, I'm sure. Also, it's really important to get good sources of high quality, rapidly digestible proteins. And the reason for that is, not only, as you've said, when you exercise you get the stress, the breakdown of muscle tissue, where you need amino acids from your diet to help replenish them, to help regrow that muscle tissue. You've also got, within your cells, within your muscle cells, you make lots and lots and lots of adaptive changes. So for example, if you are training for a marathon, keep going back to marathon, you're training when you're doing a 5k, you're doing a 10k, you're gradually incrementing your distances, are all causing adaptive responses. And that's not just in your muscles, but it's also in the cells within your muscles. So you are making more mitochondria, we'll talk about them later, you're making, you're increasing enzymes to be able to break down lactic acid and be able to burn more fat than carbohydrates, so you're more efficient in your recovery, and that all requires high quality protein. If you're depleting your protein intakes after exercise because you go, I'm absolutely knackered, I just want to go to sleep and I'm not going to do anything, you're not getting those training adaptations as well as you should. Now, I know I've just mentioned marathons, but the same applies to playing a rugby game. I can imagine there was a time, when you first played 80 minutes of rugby, your legs were shot after the game. Now you can probably play 80 minutes of rugby and it's just a normal feeling because you've had those training responses. You will have got them and you will still get them if you don't eat enough protein. But again, the whole reason for this podcast is you want to perform at your best and we want to get you there as quick as you can. So if you're not doing these things, why not? You're only, impeding yourself. So it's high quality, rapidly digestible carbohydrates and high quality proteins. When we're talking high quality proteins, again, that's going back to they contain all the amino acids that your body needs to make or that it can't gain itself. So those, I'm not going to go through the amino acids, but good sources of that are generally your meats, your eggs, fish, milk. Milk's a fantastic post-exercise recovery drink because it's got lots of carbohydrates. The sugar in it is rapidly broken down. It's a disaccharide, meaning it contains 2 sugars. It doesn't need lots of breakdown.
I suppose it's in liquid form as well. So
liquid, yeah. And people sometimes don't want to eat a big meal after an exercise bout, but you can drink something. And if you have a pint of milk, obviously if you've got lactose intolerance, don't do that. Maybe go for a lactose free. But you get all those carbohydrates, which are good. You've got a good source of calcium to help your bones recover. And you've got really, really, really good quality proteins there. You've got whey and you've got casein, which are both found in milk. And most people pay lots of money for whey protein or casein protein. So why wouldn't you just drink a pint of milk? I think that's really it with post-exercise nutrition for recovery.
So practically, say 3 bits of things that people can take away to help with their nutrition post-exercise. What would you say? Okay, this is you go to, this you go to, this you go to. Okay.
Again, going back, you've got to gauge how intense was that exercise for you, and how long were you doing that exercise for? You know, if you've just ran a marathon, or if you've never run a 10k before and you've now just run a 10k, that's at the peak of your ability. So you and your needs will be the highest they've ever been. So going off that, you'll need lots of fast digesting carbohydrates after exercise, and get them in within the first 4 hours. Those rapidly digestible carbohydrates, they should come from fruit really, because they contain lots of vitamins and minerals, and they are also rapidly broken down and absorbed, and they taste good. Protein wise, you need probably, I would say, 0.4 grams of protein per kilo body weight, so you can work that out for yourself after exercise. And you need high quality proteins, and again, I'm going to say a good source for that is just milk, because they contain both rapidly broken down proteins and slower broken down proteins, so they give you a bit of both. Is that 3? I reckon that's 3.
Close enough.
That's 2.5, I think.
It was 2.5. Yeah.
Right, one more.
Go on.
Make sure after about after an hour and a half, you should be having a big meal, of which should then contain some more slowly digestible carbohydrates. So we're talking maybe some brown rice, some lentils, potatoes with skin on. So you're getting fibre there to slow the absorption of that carbohydrates, and that will give you, like I said, you've got 24 hours where you're rebuilding those glycogen stores, and by having the slower digesting carbohydrates, you're absorbing that more slowly and getting that sustainable build-up of glycogen. And in that meal, you obviously want some protein sources as well, fruit and veg, fantastic.
I think one more thing that I wanted to mention, which probably would have made sense to say at the start, but
go on.
Essentially, in my opinion, recovery methods from training is probably one of the most missed out things that people have in their programming.
Yeah.
So
people work so hard
in
the gym. And they want to eat the best that they can eat, but the time after your exercise, whether it's training, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's playing a sport, or whether it's going for an event run, triathlon, people miss that post-exercise recovery, nutrition for one, but in terms of the recovery exercises as well,
being active and active in your recovery, and ultimately, you only have, if you're a rugby player or a football player, you only have so many seasons in your lifetime, and to become the best athlete you can be, you want to have as many crammed in sessions as you can, and to do that, you've got to recover quicker. The quicker you recover, the more
Why do you think people miss those?
I think
a
little bit of lack in knowledge, in terms of not many people know
the benefits
of it and how active recovery can. The camera's just died, but
nice.
We can deal with that. We're towards the end now, so it's fine. But what was I saying? Is a lack of knowledge, and people don't actually kind of know how important it is and the actual ways to do it. But it's also maybe a little bit of neglect and
you can say laziness.
And laziness is the word I was trying to.
I would agree.
I
would absolutely agree.
Which is only fair enough, because I'm exactly the same. I think if I've trained really really hard in the gym one time, I'm thinking fucking I've smashed that. Yeah. And then you think job done.
You want to lie on the sofa because you're absolutely in bits from what you've just done.
And then the next week you're buggered with DOMs, but realistically, you can be active about it and make sure that you're doing those small bits as well. And
if you do want to be at the very peak of your performance and at the best of your game, it's all those 1%. They all add up, and the difference between the top sprinter in the world and the second sprinter in the world. Is it doing those recovery sessions? Is it missing one recovery session?
Yeah.
So if you really do want to perform at your best, you need to be doing everything you can. But yeah, I think that wraps up the podcast for today. I hope you've got some value from it. Obviously, that concludes the pre, during, and post exercise habits, which is good. I think next week we're going to move on to what we're going to do, hypertrophy. Training methods for hypertrophy, and obviously nutrition for hypertrophy. So if you don't know what hypertrophy is, it's building muscle. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening, guys, and apologies, but the camera's died. So if you were watching on there, tough luck.
It's my poor admin.
Absolutely. Take care, guys. Thanks.
See you later.